Hey guys, I am coming to you from my bedroom yet again to answer all of your questions that you guys have been asking me. So this is kind of like a compilation of questions I've gotten on YouTube and on Facebook, and then I posted a Facebook post the other day just to kind of get your extra questions in so I could include them in this video. And of course it's like 5 a.m. I took a nap at like 3 and I woke up at 1 a.m. completely dark, completely disoriented, and I've been up since then. How cute are my cats right now? There's the other one. He doesn't really make an appearance in a lot of my videos. He's kind of a shy boy. But believe it or not, I get a lot of questions about my cats. So here they are with me right now, next to my baby blankets, which I do indeed still sleep with. And if my cat wasn't sleeping on them, I would probably try to like hide them under a pillow or push them out of the way. But I did already make a post on my Facebook a long time ago about how I still sleep with my baby blankets and how I'm afraid of the dark. So I guess the cat is out of the bag, and it doesn't really matter anymore at this point anyways. I'm sorry for the horrible lighting situation. It's really hard to film in my room when it's dark out. I noticed that natural lighting is definitely the way to go. So I would try to make videos during the day, but since I'm like a vampire, I'm just never awake at the right times to film. So I get so many questions via my Facebook through comments and my YouTube through comments and messages from you guys, and a lot of them are really constructive and interesting questions that I'm excited to answer, and some of them are so bizarre that I really have to wonder like what was going through this person's head when they formulated this question, but I'll get to those later and I will answer them for you. So I'm going to get started with some basic stuff that you guys ask me, like my age. I am 22 years old, and a lot of you guys also ask me how tall I am, and I'm 5'11". So I'm really tall, and I love it. And I actually am really guilty of wearing like extremely high shoes and pissing my friends off all the time because there's just such a gap of height. But I really like it. I like being able to like see like what's going on in any situation, and I just think that height is really empowering. So really tall, and for all my fellow subscribers who are tall as well, you guys rock. I also get a lot of questions about school and did I go to college? Did I graduate from high school? Yes, I graduated from high school, and I actually went to college for 3 years. My entire like extended family, my sister, my parents, my grandparents, actually went to the University of Maryland, and I was kind of pushed in that general direction when I graduated from high school, and it was my first college of choice. And then I actually kind of bailed the last minute. I just decided that the campus was too big for me personally. They have like 40,000 undergrads. So I ended up going to a much smaller school for my first year of college, and then I transferred to an even smaller campus for the next 2 years. My focus in college, or my major, was economics, and then I switched to business. So I really enjoyed learning about business and everything like that. I got in a car accident after I had been in school for like 2.5 years, and everyone was fine, whatever, but I kind of actually used it as like a crutch as to why I kind of didn't finish school. But the reality of it is that school is just not for everyone, and I'm not even sure at this point if it's for me, but I know that at that point in my life it wasn't right for me at the time. So, I just felt like I was going to school. I didn't really know what I want to do, as, most young people don't really know what they want to do when they're still young and still in school and everything. But I just kind of wanted to take a little break from school and, like, travel and, like, pursue things that I was passionate about, and then maybe hope that everything would fall into place as it has started to do. So, I'm thinking about going back to school. Maybe, but I'm not completely sure if I want to go back. I still have those feelings that, it might not just be for me. So going along with that, kind of on the same page, a lot of you guys ask me what I do or what my hobbies are besides, filming videos and the things that I do in my videos. So I have a lot of like creative kind of outlets, and I think part of that stems from the fact that everyone in my family is pretty creative. So I grew up with a really broad appreciation for art and music and writing and everything like that. So a lot of my passions pertain to similar interests. So in my spare time, a lot of my energy is invested in pursuing things that are artistic. I really like to paint, and I know you guys haven't seen my house, and I think this wall behind me is like the only wall in my house that is white or off-white or whatever color it is, because I paint like all my walls wherever I live, and it tends to piss people off, like my landlords and everything like that. The landlord that I rent from right now is amazing and so cool, and he has condoned it. So that's even worse because I have literally painted my walls the most outrageous colors. I like to paint when I'm feeling anxious, which I know that I have not exactly delved into that subject a lot, but I have a lot of anxiety. I always have, and I think that projects where you are very focused on doing something such as painting really help with that. So something I really like to do. I also write some poetry and short stories and stuff like that. And I also really, really am fascinated by body art. So actually, one of my good friends is Muslim, and I actually have a few friends from college who are also Muslim, but in particular, one of my friends is Muslim, and she ended up getting married a couple years ago, and that was the first wedding that I had been to that was Muslim. So if any of you guys are familiar with Muslim traditions, they have a lot of different religious practices. Of course, one of them is mendi, which is like henna on the bride and the bridesmaids and people in the wedding. So the traditional mendi for the bride is to get her arms and her feet done completely, and then a lot of the people in the wedding also get designs done as well. So I went to the henna party for the wedding, and I was just completely absorbed and like fascinated. And I started like messing around on some of my friends who were also there with me and like doing some designs. And by the end of the night, I was literally doing henna for like people who were in the wedding and stuff like that. So it was crazy. So after that, I started buying cones from India and just kind of experimenting with it on my own. I had a bunch of really awesome neighbors that would like let me use their body as canvases to do henna. So that is something that I love doing, and I'm gonna include a couple pictures, I guess like right now, so you guys can kind of just get a general idea of some designs that I like to do. I kind of just like to freehand, and I actually haven't done it for a while, but I'm going to start to get back into it now that I have a little bit more free time and I'm done traveling. So another question that I got on my Facebook page is, what kind of books did I read when I was a kid? Which is probably my favorite question ever because my mom is actually a librarian. So I grew up with the opportunity to explore like every section of the library. I was always going into work with my mom and just going off and reading on my own, and she would bring me home books all the time. I think that as a kid, literature is so important. I think it's really helped shape me as a person. So when I was younger, I liked picture books and things that were really visual. Like The Rainbow Fish was one of my favorite books, and I liked books that had like morals to them, which of course that one does, and like fables and stuff like that. And I started reading more advanced books when I was a little bit younger, not necessarily advanced in a sense of like being novels or anything, but just like a more intense literature, longer books and everything like that. When I was pretty young, probably like 6, there's a series of books called The Bailey School Kids. There's actually 2 authors. It's Debbie Dady, I think, and Marcia Thornton Jones. And I had like every book that they ever made under that whole kind of collection. So it was like Ghosts Don't Eat Potato Chips and Dracula Doesn't Drink Lemonade and like all those books. And I think there were like over 100 of them, maybe even a couple hundred. And I bought them every time they came out. So we got that little like newsletter in school where you could like order books. My mom would always let me order one, so it was awesome. And I would blow through them in literally like an hour. I would just sit there and read the whole thing, and you know, I was just so excited to be reading. And I also really liked Roald Dahl books. Another series that I loved was Sideways Stories from Wayside School. The author is Louise Sacker. I'm not sure how to pronounce his first name, but there's like a whole series of that. So I really like books that were like mystery books, just kind of like fictional and everything like that. So those are some books that I loved reading. I feel like now I don't read as much as I should, and I really want to get back into it. But as a kid, I was like reading every day. And I think that's something, you know, if I ever have kids in the very far distant future, I'm going to definitely encourage that growth for sure. When I was like 16 or 17, my mom also like got me a job at the library where she was working. I was not excited about it. Solely for the fact that, I mean, it's just pretty boring, you know, you're just like shelving books all day, like stamping cards, whatever. And they literally told me that I only got the job because my mom worked there. They were like, we weren't gonna choose you, but since your mom works here, we felt obligated. And it was so boring, and I would literally like, you know, shelve like a whole freaking cart of books, and then I would like sneak off to the back and then like go read books in the back and like, you know, try to take extended breaks so I could like pick books out for myself and stuff like that. So I'm sure if they're watching this now, they're probably like really bitter because I wasn't the best employee. Okay, since so many of you guys ask me about my tattoos all the time, and I have been like refusing to make a tattoo video because it's just not really something I want to do. I did decide that I would include a couple questions about tattoos in this video. You know, so maybe this will like fill the void since I'm not making a tattoo video. A lot of you guys asked me, how long did my tattoos take? I think it's like a big misconception that people think you can just go into a tattoo you know, parlor and get a tattoo in like a day, especially if it's like a detailed, like extensive piece. That does not happen. So my arm alone, I have had probably upwards of like 10 or 11 sessions, and it started off as an octopus a couple years ago, and then I added the poppy flowers and everything like that on a little bit later. There's still a lot of areas that need to be finished, and they're not done at all. I probably need like realistically like 3 or 4 more sessions on my arm, and I'm just like dreading it. And the tattoo artist who's doing it, who is super talented and a really good friend of mine, like, you know, gets on my case for being such a baby. So I can't help it. In fact, my tolerance for pain has like significantly decreased as I've gotten older for some reason. So I used to be able to sit for like a few hours to get tattooed through a session, and now I can only sit for like 1, if that. Like it's really, really intensely painful for me. So I need to, you know, practice some like breathing strategies, or like get some EMLA or something. I think it's legal in Canada. It's like topical numbing cream, and I've never used it before for getting tattooed. So have you guys tried it? Let me know how it works. Another question you guys ask me is, how old was I when I got my first tattoo? And I'm sure if my mom is watching this, she's going to like die in her shoes, because I was actually 14 years old, possibly 15. It was my freshman year of high school, and I've always like networked with a lot of like artistic and creative people, and this girl that I used to hang out with knew a tattoo artist, and we like completely lied about like everything, like our age and everything. He was like apprenticing, like kind of far from my house, but in the same state or whatever, and he ended up like tattooing us. And it was definitely the worst tattoo I've ever gotten. It's really small, and it's been covered up, and it still looks like crap, like literally equivalent to like a jail tat. And I remember I somehow managed to hide it from my entire family for the entire time that I was living with my parents. And I have like a close relationship to my family, so it was really difficult, especially like at the beach and stuff, when you're like, you know, more exposed and everything like that. So I was very, very, very careful and very aware to like not let them see it. And the first time my sister saw it, I think I was at like Target or something, and she was like, oh my god, what is that? And she like called my mom up, and my mom was like, did you get a tattoo? And I was like freaking out about it, you know, trying to deny it and everything like that. I really wasn't a bad kid. I think I was just curious. So don't get tattooed when you're young. Lesson learned. I really don't even care because it's kind of just like a part of me. I have so many like random tattoos at this point, it really doesn't even matter anymore. But I strongly encourage all the young people and all my subscribers and viewers, if you're considering getting a tattoo, wait until you are at least of age, please. I think there is an age for a reason, and the reason is that people change their mind a lot. So, you don't want to get stuck with like this a ridiculous like tribal tramp stamp or like, something like that you might later regret in your life. So, that being said, how many tattoos do I have? I really don't even know. It's probably not as many as you guys think. I don't even know. I could sit here and count, but I'm too lazy to do that. So we're going to go with a range of like 10 to 15 maybe. Okay, moving on from tattoos and tattooing and everything like that, the next topic we are going to focus on is the topic of my chest, which is a highly discussed topic on my YouTube channel, and it comes up frequently. So let me just clear the air with all of your boob questions while we're on this topic. First question, are my boobs fake? No, they aren't, and I actually don't think they really make implants in this petite size. I'm pretty sure they don't make implants this small. Moving on to the topic of why I frequently do not wear a bra. A lot of you guys seem very offended because I choose not to wear a bra. Why do I not wear a bra? Number one, they're constricting. Number two, I live in America and it's a free country. Number three, they leave marks and they are uncomfortable. Is that enough reasons for you guys? Realistically, my chest is small enough that I really don't need to wear one. I feel like I should be asking a lot of you guys why you actually wear them. And I'm not trying to convince you to go commando or anything like that. I just think it's a personal choice, and either way is fine. I just don't have enough of a chest that I need the extra support. So my boobs aren't going anywhere with or without a bra. However, if I do go out and a bra is mandatory, then I will wear one. And a lot of you guys ask me what kind of bra I wear, which is actually a totally acceptable question. That's a lot better than asking me my motives for my underwear choices. But I think that Victoria's Secret makes great bras for women of all shapes and sizes. And if I want to give myself like a little lift, the Bombshell bra is awesome. It like makes your boobs look huge, and it's totally deceiving. It's like getting a boob job without getting a boob job. And I think it's kind of cool to go back and forth. So, if I want a little bit of a push-up or whatever, I'll wear, a push-up bra or whatever. So that's why maybe sometimes my boobs look really big, but they're not, I can assure you. And since we are on like a very vain kind of topic, I'm going to talk about my hair now because a lot of you guys also ask me about my hair. A lot of you guys ask me if I do it myself at home. No, I do not. As far as like the bleaching situation goes, and I do not recommend anyone bleach their hair at home. It's like a recipe for disaster, and it's just asking for extreme damage and or a horrible outcome. It's really hard to achieve the right shade of blonde with bleach at home. So I strongly recommend that if you guys are considering bleaching your hair, that you get it done professionally. Anytime that you go from a darker to a lighter shade, you really want to go and get it done professionally. And also because chances are that you're going to have to get it fixed anyways if you try to do it yourself. And as far as, I know hair services can get a little bit expensive, but a really good method to getting your hair done if you're on a budget. A lot of places have, beauty schools and stuff like that, like Paul Mitchell Academy, everything like that. Wherever you live, I know it's going to vary, but a lot of those places will give discounted rates for students who are, either apprenticing or still finishing their hours through hair school and everything like that. And a lot of my friends go to places like that to get highlights, all over color, cuts, whatever. So that's one suggestion. I don't encourage you to go to the hair cuttery. Has anyone else gotten a mullet from the hair cuttery? Because I've gotten like 3 a long time ago, and that's when I completely decided I would never go there again. You don't need to spend like $1 million to get your hair done, but I think that if you're gonna make a drastic decision, whether it's with color or cut, you really, really, really want to consider getting it done professionally. So I'm going to answer 2 more questions really fast. This video is getting like extremely long, so I'm going to cut it off soon. The first question is something I get asked all the time about my sexuality. Am I bisexual? So many of you guys, ask me what is my sexual orientation, everything like that. Okay, bisexual literally means of both sexes. So the way or the connotation of bisexuality in our society is just it's like a misrepresentation of the word. So gender is a reflection of how an individual chooses to function in society through their decisions and their experiences. So gender is really categorized by your individual experiences, rather than your physical being or your physical structure, how you were born. So it's very like mental, and that is very important to me. So any connection that I make with someone else is always mental, always. And I think the mind is so much more important than the body. So if I can make a connection with you mentally, then I can make a connection with you physically. I know that's kind of vague, and I'm not trying to be vague because I'm very open about talking about things like this, but I don't really know how else to put it. So I think that the body is very aesthetically pleasing, but ultimately the mind is much more powerful. Going along with that, I do have an extreme, ridiculous, huge, tremendous crush on Katy Perry. So if anyone knows where she lives, no, I'm just kidding, but I think girls are very beautiful, and I think that the female body is just sexy, and it's beautiful. So of course I can find things I like about girls. Okay, so the last question I want to answer, kind of going along with sexuality and whatever, is about relationships. And a couple people have asked me if I've ever, had my heart broken. And I know that's kind of like an emo question or whatever, but I wanted to touch base on it just because I think the way I look at relationships and love or, anything like that has dramatically changed since when I was younger. Have I had my heart broken? I would say probably not. I went through a really crappy breakup like a few years ago. It was like my first serious boyfriend, and things just didn't work out, and I thought it was the end of the world, when he broke up with me, and I really handled it very poorly. Like, thinking back to how I responded to the situation and how I handled myself, I would never make those decisions again to handle it like that, because of course I believe that everyone has the right to choose what they want to do and who they want to be with. So I was really bitter, and I was really frustrated, and I was, of course, depressed and sad that, the person that I really, felt like this mental connection with, didn't want to be with me. But thinking back, it took me a really, really long time to get over it. And I know I see all these girls all the time, going through breakups, and you're like, oh my God, get over it. But it really is difficult, so I understand that. Thinking back about, this guy, and thinking about where I am now in my life, I realized that it never would have worked anyways, ever. And so now, I'm so much better. And, it was just a learning experience, and I don't have any hostility towards, the guy. And I know it was only a few years ago, but not to say that I've matured, but I just feel a lot different about everything that has to do with relationships and everything like that. So I really can't say that I don't think my heart has actually been broken, because I don't feel like I was in love with him. I feel like I was comfortable in the relationship, and when it ended, I felt alone and, just really upset that it didn't end on my terms, which is another thing. I think I have some power issues and control issues. So, when something is not on my terms, it makes it a lot more difficult for me anyways. But as far as relationships go, it's important for anyone to realize that I firmly believe that I don't know if everything happens for a reason, as far as, is everything predetermined? No, I think that you determine your own destiny and you determine your own fate. But I also think that nature and your experiences will help shape that fate. So I think it's really important to learn from your mistakes and to realize that, you know, if you feel really bummed or, you know, in a rut after a breakup, how beautiful is it that you can actually feel that emotion as a result of being happy at one point, you know? So now it's getting light outside and I feel like I'm kind of like branching off and rambling. I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys for all your questions and all your love and all your support and for, you know, just communicating with me and networking with me. I love talking to you guys and answering, you know, any questions you have. I hope you guys have a really enjoyable day, and I will talk to you guys soon.